Hey there, today we're taking a look at Exoprimal running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. Now this is on the TRIGKEY Speed 5 mini PC. And here you're seeing the game running with the lowest in-game graphics settings, but we are using also FSR, and FSR is set to the quality preset. Now it is FSR 1.0. The game itself actually does support both, and I'm really glad to see that. A lot of the times you'll see that they'll only implement one or the other, and with these low-end APUs, FSR 2.0 is actually more of a detriment than it is helpful. The reason is because FSR 2.0, the reason that it actually looks better is because it requires more computational power to process the upscaling. And what that means with this lower end hardware is that it actually has such a high performance overhead that you really have to drop it down to the very, very low quality settings just to actually see an improvement. And at that point, it really just starts to destroy the image no matter what, effectively completely negating the benefits that you got from FSR 2.0 in the first place. Really, with any Vega-based iGPU, FSR 1.0 is actually going to see you get an improvement in terms of performance, though of course at a sacrifice in visual quality. But when the difference is whether you're able to play a game or completely just be locked out of it, I think there's a lot of people that would just take the visual quality hit. Now I will note that I really could tell very obviously that FSR at quality preset was making this look noticeably blurrier than if we were just running this at the native resolution. There's a very distinct blur to everything, but for the most part, you could just adjust to it, and if you really want to be able to play the game, this is about as good as it's going to get. Now, the performance that we're getting out of this isn't exactly remarkable, but what it is consistent. Our 1% lows, while they are dipping below 30, are not dipping dramatically lower than what our average is at 36. What that means is that even though it's not a high refresh rate experience, it is at least a playable one. But the game is a PvPvE situation. So what that means is that you are going to be going up against other players. If this was a purely PvE game, I would say that this level of performance is perfectly acceptable. But because of the PvP aspect to it, you might not find this to be decent enough to actually get an enjoyable experience out of this. Certainly while fighting the dinosaurs, everything was fine, but once I got to the PvP portion of the game, things became pretty noticeably worse, just because of the fact that the enemies are just moving a lot more on the screen, so you kind of notice the lower FPS a lot more. And especially as a lot of effects are being done, it can really bring down those 1% lows to their lowest levels. Now, you can always drop FSR even more to try to squeeze out a little bit more performance, but at that point, visually speaking, you are sacrificing a lot. Quality is really about as low as you can go with FSR 1.0 before you really start to destroy the image. And again, even with the quality preset, it doesn't exactly look great. There is one more quality preset above this, but you are going to be taking a little bit of a hit in the 1% lows, though it does look a little bit better, but not really enough to justify doing. I think the quality is pretty much as good as it gets in terms of a performance boost, while still maintaining some kind of image quality that isn't horrific. In general, it really just comes down to what you're willing to stomach. I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't like to play anything PvP unless they're getting 60 FPS, at least as an average. If that really doesn't matter to you, I did find this to be at least adequate enough to play, especially considering the fact that we are talking about a brand new title with a system that is extremely low budget. In all honesty, it actually impressed me on how well it performed. Yeah, it's not remarkable, but it's actually a pretty decent experience for a brand new game. So I would consider this one a win, but it really does come down to your personal taste. But I hope you found this look at Exoprimal running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U to be interesting, useful, or entertaining. If you're interested in picking up this specific mini PC that I'm using, you can always check out the links down below, as well as you could check out the link to Aniba, which is the key reseller site that I use all the time to pick up games for extremely cheap. So check it out down below. I'll see you guys in the next one.